You are sitting on the floor of your bedroom, your finger hovering rigidly over the record button of a dual cassette boombox, waiting for the radio DJ to finally stop talking so you can capture your favorite song. Fast forward just a few short years, and you are illegally downloading thousands of MP3 files onto a translucent, brightly colored desktop computer in your dorm room. If you vividly remember the physical tension of both of those experiences, you belong to a psychological demographic that completely defies standard categorization. If you were born somewhere between 1976 and 1985, sociologists and cultural commentators constantly try to shove you into a neat generational box, but you never quite fit. You are not a cynical Gen Xer, but you are definitely not a digital native millennial. You are part of a highly specific micro-generation. You spent your formative childhood years in an entirely analog reality, only to have the entire global infrastructure go completely digital right as you were stepping into adulthood. And according to cognitive psychologists, what happened during that exact slice of history created a brain that processes risk, social identity, and memory differently than any other group alive today. Let's start by looking at how you physically navigated the world, because it directly shaped your brain's spatial awareness. Think about how you used to drive to a new location. You had to log onto a desktop computer, print out a massive stack of MapQuest directions, and blindly trust that the odometer on your dashboard matched the distances on the paper. You had to actively build a mental map of your surroundings. Today, you rely on a GPS voice in your pocket telling you exactly when to turn. Cognitive psychologists note that the transition from physical wayfinding to passive GPS navigation fundamentally alters a mechanism called cognitive mapping. When you had to figure out a route yourself, your brain relied heavily on the hippocampus to build internal spatial grids. You learned how to recover from getting lost without a digital safety net. As a result, people in this micro-generation often possess a much higher internal locus of control. You learned early on that if you took a wrong turn, you had the inherent capability to correct it yourself, building a psychological resilience that younger brains, accustomed to constant, frictionless algorithmic guidance, often struggle to develop. But here is where it gets interesting. Think about how your social identity evolved. Your early teenage years involved passing intricately folded paper notes in the back of a classroom. Those conversations physically existed for a brief moment and were then thrown away. But in your late teens and early 20s, you became the very first humans to actively curate a digital persona. You navigated the intense, unspoken social politics of early instant messaging platforms. You carefully crafted away messages to signal your mood. You learned how to interpret the silence of someone logging off exactly as you logged on. Behavioral researchers refer to this as the genesis of digital impression management. You were the test subjects for online socialization. However, because you already had a firm foundation of analog social skills, you treated the digital world as an extension of your real life, rather than the core of your existence. You experienced human connection in its raw, unedited form first, which means your baseline for social reward is not entirely dependent on read receipts or algorithmic validation. We also have to talk about the severe economic reality that shaped your specific brain, because this timing matters more than people realize. You graduated college, entered the adult workforce, or were just trying to establish your independence right around the catastrophic 2008 financial crisis. You watched massive institutions crumble. You saw people who followed all the traditional rules lose their homes and their retirement accounts. Research on economic hardship demonstrates that experiencing profound financial trauma during this specific life stage leaves lasting psychological scars. People who face massive economic instability while trying to establish their adult identity frequently carry a lingering scarcity mindset. It permanently shapes how you think about money, job security, and personal risk. You can effortlessly navigate modern corporate software, but you likely possess an underlying current of anxiety whispering, "What if it all falls apart again?" running beneath your major decisions. You learned that institutional loyalty rarely pays off, forcing you to develop a fiercely protective self-reliance regarding your career trajectory. This brings us to how you process your own personal history and your concept of privacy. You experienced your college years or your early 20s just as affordable digital cameras completely flooded the market. You are the specific demographic that took hundreds of completely unfiltered, unedited photos on a Friday night and immediately uploaded an entire chaotic album to early social media on Saturday morning. You were the first group to realize that your past was suddenly permanent. Before this, embarrassing moments or bad decisions simply faded into the oral history of your friend group. But you collided directly with the birth of digital permanence. Consequently, you probably have a highly complicated relationship with online sharing today. You watched the internet shift from a fun, chaotic playground into a rigid, permanent surveillance tool. Research on privacy behaviors suggests that individuals who lived through this exact transition are far more deliberate about their digital footprints. You pull back from oversharing because you vividly remember the growing pains of learning that the internet never, ever forgets. What makes your psychological profile so endlessly fascinating is the underlying neuroscience of when all of this happened. The entire global economy and communication infrastructure went digital right as you were moving through your late teens and early 20s. According to research on human brain development, the prefrontal cortex, the region that strictly governs complex decision-making, risk assessment, and adaptability, finishes its primary maturation around the age of 25. A study published in Nature Neuroscience confirms that you were still firmly inside this window of high neuroplasticity when the technological landscape exploded. You were young enough that picking up new hardware and adapting to shifting software felt completely natural, but you were old enough to have a fully formed analog identity. You achieved a kind of psychological bilingualism that is exceptionally rare. You can sit at a dinner table and have a deep, 2-hour conversation without instinctively reaching for your phone to check a notification. But you also do not feel a sense of overwhelming panic when your company completely changes its operating system. You remember exactly what it felt like to be completely unreachable for a weekend, a peaceful experience many younger generations have literally never felt. But you are also not intimidated by rapid innovation. You carry a very specific, beautiful psychological paradox. You possess the fierce, latchkey independence of Generation X, having grown up long before helicopter parenting was even a cultural concept. Your parents largely let you roam, expecting you to solve your own localized disputes and entertain yourself without immediate adult intervention. Yet, you also hold the digital fluency and global awareness of a millennial. You are independent, yet highly cooperative, deeply skeptical of authority, yet cautiously optimistic about connection, fully capable in the digital realm, but firmly grounded in physical reality. You are uniquely positioned to see exactly what society gained and exactly what we sacrificed. You lost a certain kind of cultural slowness. You lost the patience that only exists when you are forced to wait for something without a distraction in your hand. but you gained the ability to adapt to a world that changes faster than anyone can possibly predict. Having successfully lived through the greatest communication shift in human history might be the most valuable psychological asset you own. You know exactly how to adapt to a brand new reality without losing your fundamental self in the process. Your experience is profoundly worth examining, not because you are superior, but because you survived a specific moment in human history that taught you how to bridge two entirely different worlds. Tell me, do you constantly feel caught between the analog past and the digital future? If you are proud to belong to the rare micro-generation that knows exactly how to navigate both, type the word bridge in the comments below so we can see how many of us are really out there.